Welcome to the Fair Housing Insiders. We are so thankful that you joined us. And please remember to subscribe here on our YouTube channel or follow and like us on your favorite social media outlet, which you can find links to in our show notes for even more fair housing news and insights. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fair Housing Insiders. I'm your host, Jonathan Sarr. Joining me today is Kathy Williams. Today, we are focusing on protected classes, and this will be part one of sex. So let's look at a scenario. There are so many different nuances to protected classes. So in this series, we're going to address some things that come up with each one. We're going to start with sex. So there's a scenario here that we're going to take a look at with a prospect who's in the leasing office. So Kathy, look forward to your feedback on what we see in this scenario. So let's take a look, and then I'll have some questions for you.
Do you have any two-bedroom units available?
No, ma'am. Unfortunately, we don't have any units available right now. But please check back regularly as our availability changes daily.
Why are you calling me ma'am? I am non-binary, and I bet you do have units. You just don't want to rent to someone like me.
Okay, so good scenario, very realistic. So our first question for you, Kathy, is calling someone sir or ma'am a fair housing violation?
Jonathan, in most instances, it would not be a fair housing violation. There are a lot of people who use sir or ma'am when they're talking to people out of, a desire to be polite and respectful. If you find, however, that reference is having the opposite effect, it's offending someone, then it would just be good customer service to apologize and use whatever reference the prospect has identified for you. So the issue isn't, do you make a mistake by saying it? If you do, that's not a fair housing violation. But if you're intentionally using a reference like that, and you know it's offending someone, at that point, then we've got to be concerned.
Understood. Okay, thank you. So let's kind of flip it around a bit. So is refusing to use a person's preferred pronoun a fair housing violation?
So after the prospect, let's say, makes it clear how they want to be referenced and what pronouns they want you to use, if you just refuse to do that, then I think we could have a problem, because remember that sexual orientation, gender identity is protected under this classification as sex discrimination. So an intentional intention to offend someone could certainly be seen as a fair housing violation.
Okay, thank you. So let's talk about advertising for a minute now. Is it legal to advertise a property management community as LGBTQ-friendly? Is that legal to advertise that?
Let me just say, this is one of those gray areas in fair housing. I've never seen a court case analyze that situation. So I'm not 100% sure how that would be viewed. I think there would be a difference in marketing a community as being friendly versus marketing a community as being exclusive. So what I'm saying is, if you merely said, hey, this community is open to all persons, including persons in the LGBTQ plus community, that's probably fine. If you say that you must be a member of the LGBTQ plus community to be housed here, that might be seen as discriminating against people who are, let's say, straight or cis. And in that case, those people are also protected by the protected category of sex discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
So that might go too far and be a violation. So I'm kind of going back and forth in my answer, but that's just to say, as with everything, we need to see some legal analysis here as to how far you can go to be friendly versus somehow excluding people who are also covered by the protected categories.
Digible is a marketing and technology company specializing in the multifamily housing industry. We're a motley crew of industry professionals who all share a passion for a common purpose: to transform the apartment marketing industry through creative, data-driven, digital marketing and technology solutions and world-class client support. Contact us today at digible.com.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Kathy. So one more. We're going to go to a specific genre within property management now, and that's student housing. So is it discriminatory to refuse to rent a room to a male if all of the other roommates in the unit are female?
You know, I think that is probably an issue faced every day in student housing because they are roommate matching in most situations. That's how those units are set up. And the short answer is no. It is not illegal to discriminate on the basis of gender, and by that I mean male, female, in situations where the unit shares personal living spaces, such as bathrooms and kitchens and bedrooms and living rooms. If they're shared living spaces, historically, that's been viewed as an exception to gender discrimination, and it's all right to match people based on their gender. Now, when we get into the much more complicated questions involving roommate matching based on sexual orientation and gender identity, we are getting probably too far into the weeds for this interaction. So I will leave that answer for you to contact your lawyer about.
Okay, very good. Well, this has been very informative, very, very helpful to our community. Kathy, we appreciate your insights as always. So we look forward to the next part of this episode and in general, the series that we're putting together, Protected Classes. So thank you everyone for tuning into episode 88. Again, this was part 1, talking about sex as a protected class. We appreciate your support. Until next time, take care, everyone.
Thank you for joining us, and we can't wait to hear your feedback about today's episode. Do you have a topic that you would like to see discussed in a future episode? Feel free to share that with us. In the show notes, you'll see a link to sign up for our newsletter. This newsletter will keep you up to date with our latest episodes, blogs, and information about our online fair housing courses. Thank you again, and happy training.